Joining us now, one of our favorites, it is Brock Huard, joining us from a very happy Seattle. How you doing, Brock?
Oh, Scotty, too hotty. We are just spoiled. We are just spoiled in the Pacific Northwest. Let me just say that, all right? I'm like a trust fund baby that knows how good I have it, all right? The Mariners on the precipice of the World Series, the Seahawks lifting the Lombardi. Like, man, we got it good right now in the Pacific Northwest.
All right, so, yeah, you feel like you were born on second base when you do radio in Seattle right now.
More like third base. Yeah, more like third. Yeah. Maybe halfway home. Yes.
What was your confidence level going on Seattle going into that Super Bowl? Because, frankly, I really felt like they were going to win that game and win it big.
Yeah, it was pretty high, honestly. Not as high as Salk. You know, we were on Media Row last week, and anybody and everybody that came on was like, well, you're going to get blasted. Like, they're going to blow them out. It's going to not even be close. Like, this is stupid. Like, why do you even think it's going to be a game? Like, you're not near, like, I'm like, Salk, take it down a notch. This is the Super Bowl, and it's only a 4-point spread. Like, come on, man. And I even asked Mike, I said, were you ever nervous? He's like, yeah, a little bit before kick. I was thinking about this is Salk a little bit. I was a little over the top with my confidence. But then once the game started, honestly, from the first play, which was outside zone, they gained 10 yards. They score on the first drive. They were undefeated this year when they scored first. Like, yeah, they're the better team. And then watching that front absolutely detonate and decimate anything New England tried to do, yeah, it was pretty cool to put that stamp of defensive approval on that game and leave that mark and leave poor Drake May in tears.
I'm really fired up to break this down because I want to get the quarterback perspective on this, because New England was getting a pretty good pass rush on Sam Darnold, and but yet you could see the experience and nothing seemed to rattle him even when he got pressure. On the flip side, Drake May, he looked like a second-year player playing in a Super Bowl, for crying out loud. And it's not to say he's not going to be a great quarterback down the line, but he showed a high level of inexperience in that game.
Yeah, I think the difference, and I'll give like a little Utah background on this, is what New England was doing was what Morgan Scalley loves to do, and that's bring a lot of people and bring pressure and play cover zero and just play man and be hyper-aggressive. And when you're playing against that scheme as a quarterback like Sam was, you know they're going to win some of them, right? They're gonna hit me. I got to get the ball out earlier. Like, you're going to win. You got more chess pieces at the line of scrimmage than I do blockers. And you know what? Eventually have got to be patient, because eventually we're going to get explosive runs. Eventually we're going to get the right call at the right time to throw the touchdown on the little scissors concept to the tight end. Like, it's a boom or bust. On the flip side, it was like the Buccaneers defense with Monty Kiffin the last time a defense was really this dominant Super Bowl. Like, no, we just rushed 4. Or the New York Giants NASCAR package. Like, nope, we just rushed 4. And when your 4 beat the other 5, as Collinsworth said, there's no more demoralizing a feeling. And as a QB, you're like, this really sucks. Like, I got nowhere to go. They got 7 guys for my 4, in coverage, and I got nowhere to go. And then these 4 are hitting me, harassing me, knocking me down, beating me up, just making my life miserable. So, yes, it was a young quarterback, but I think even more than that, Scotty, it was a scheme that suffocates you when you only rush 4 and you can't block them. See also Tampa, see also the Giants, see also Philadelphia last year. Like, that is the kryptonite for any offense, no matter how talented they are.
How much do you put on Josh McDaniel for not being able to scheme around some deficiencies you had in that game on the offensive line?
Yeah, it's just like the most basic arithmetic. If you can't block 4, I don't care who you are. Like, it just doesn't work. Like, come on, Andy Reid. You're Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. Come on. Get the answers. Like, no, we can't block Philly. Like, we can't. Come on, Tom Brady. Come on, Joshy Boy and Tom Brady. You got Randy Moss. Block it. No, we can't block their 4. Like, I mean, I have a hard time kind of criticizing, especially with Drake May being a really, I know he's a second-year player, but just wash away the dysfunction of last year. And in many ways, he was like a rookie player this year. So if Brady and Mahomes and those guys couldn't solve that arithmetic, there was no way that Drake and Josh McDaniels in this version were going to get it done.
Brock Huard, kind enough to join us, putting the finishing touches on the Super Bowl. If you had to look at the Legion of Doom versus that defense you saw in the Super Bowl, who are you taking?
Ooh, different. Yeah, kind of different cast of characters. I would say this one is deeper, and you saw that, unfortunately, in the 2014 loss, Scotty, when they lost Cliff Averill to the concussion. I would contend if they would not have lost Jeremy Lane and Cliff Averill, they would have won back-to-back Super Bowls. It wouldn't have come down to a couple plays at the goal line at the end. They had a two-possession lead. They would have finished that game, and they'd have been two-time champs. And who knows? Maybe it would have been a third one after that. But that defense, once they lost Averill and once they lost their nickel Jeremy Lane early, like you could see they didn't have the depth. This defense, you could have lost Kobe Bryant and Ty Okada would have come in. You could have lost another corner and another corner comes in. You could rush 8 different guys. You could have lost Ernest Jones and Tyrese Knight comes in. Like, this defense was deeper and I think more well-versed. But that one, especially the front line of it in 13, that group, and they held, like, go look at the scoring differential. Like, this crew was number one in scoring defense. I think it's 17 points a game. Do you realize that 2013 team held teams to 11 points a game? Not in 1960 or 70 or 80. Like, that was just a dozen years ago. So that team was more dominant. This team was deeper. And overall, or those defenses, and overall, this team 1 through 70 was deeper. This is the greatest Seahawks team in franchise history, and I will stand on the rock and the mountaintop and scream it. Every stat tells you that. The scoring differential tells you that. The DVOA tells you that. Your eyes tell you that. 1 through 70, this team, there was a reason they won 17 games. They were deeper. They were better equipped. They could win in so many different ways, and ultimately stomped out the Patriots.
Well, and when you talk about 1 through 70, one thing I love about how the Seahawks have built this team is there's some coaches and some general managers, and I complain about this in the collegiate level too, that coaches don't spend a lot of time recruiting or offering scholarship to special teams players, your kickers and your punters. Seattle's gone all in on special teams. They pay those guys well, and frankly, that punter was as responsible as anybody for that win, simply making Seattle start inside the 5 and the 10-yard line, drive after drive, which led to a field position battle and led to field goals being kicked and that lead.
No question. And it is the highest paid special teams group in the league because of Jason Myers and because of Michael Dixon getting paid top of market. But in the scheme of things, they're almost a rounding error or a decimal point when it comes to what those dollars and cents are. $4 million a year for the highest paid punter. Do you make a difference? Yes. And we just finished with Mike McDonald in our final show of the year an hour ago, and he was like, you understand that punt returner was like the best in the league and one of the best in NFL history when it comes to yards per return. He was that dynamic. And the fact that, Dixon kicked it away, the fact there was so much hang time, the fact they covered the way they did, because they did have to punt a fair amount. New England's defense was really good. New England's defense gave up 8 points a game in the 3 playoff games and embarrassed Herbert and embarrassed Stroud, right, and obviously got after Stidham. That's a really, really, really good defense. That's a championship-worthy defense, but it wasn't a championship-worthy offense, and then was neutralized even in the special teams phase by a group that was the best in the league.
Did you get a sense pretty quickly that Mike McDonald was going to be what he's turned out to be?
Yes and no. I would say once he made the move off of Ryan Grubb, and he and John Schneider were decisive in that way, and once Kubiak and his crew came in, and then once Cooper Kupp and Sam Darnold pivot, like, this is going to be fun to watch. Scotty, I've kind of tried to put this in perspective, right? 12 years ago, they win the first one, the first ever in our market, and I was trying to figure out why, that one felt so much, I don't know, bigger, but it was just meaningful, because it took 4 years to incubate. 7-9, Russell Wilson divisional round, 13 win, boom, you win it. This one was almost a 1 year. I kind of said it's almost like a inheritance. Here you go, you just take it. You didn't really earn it. It's a gift, and you just really enjoy it. And even over the course of this year, Scotty, there were numerous times. So it was hey man, are the fans in? Do they see what we're watching? And it really wasn't until that Thursday night win over the Rams that everyone was finally like, oh, okay, this is real. And this is a chance to be really special. And then they curb stomped the Niners in the finale, okay, Yeah, so it's kind of been this like 4-week, 5-week madhouse sprint to lift this trophy that, oh my gosh, this is real. And these guys really got it done. So, yeah, it's a different vibe and a different feeling. And to say that anybody believed going into this year, yeah, Mike McDonald, oh, yep, they're poised to do it. Yep, look at the power rankings. They were like in the 20s. They were 60-1 odds. Like, this wasn't supposed to happen. But, man, was the buy-in real. Man, do they love each other. And, man, did they absolutely put their stamp on it Sunday.
So usually Las Vegas and the Raiders are where quality coaches go to die. Why do you think, and if you do think Clint Kubiak, why do you think he'll be different there?
Yeah, I think the only way that works there, and this will be really interesting to watch this week and into next, is, when he came to Seattle, and they were able to do that this year because he brought John Benton and he brought Janoko and he brought other people with him, right? Because the New Orleans staff had been fired, so he could bring people with him. This will be a little different animal, and I think it'll be worth watching, and I know Lloyd's deeply interested in this on the other side of the glass. This will be really interesting to see how much he can poach and how much Seattle says, sorry. Mike McDonald, when he left Baltimore and came to Seattle, Scotty, he brought like almost nobody with him because John Harbaugh, I think, was pretty clear, like, sorry, yep, you're not taking him. He's under contract. Sorry. Unless you elevate somebody into the play caller, you're not taking them. So this will be kind of an interesting little negotiation. I think Clint is deeply respected. I think he and Mike love each other. I think it will be professional. But that will be, if I'm a Raiders fan, how many people can he bring with him from Seattle, and in particular at the line of scrimmage, because he needs those resources around him to have success.
Do you think Seattle promotes from within there, or do they go outside?
Yeah, I would lean that way. This will be for Jackson Smith and Jigba, his fourth coordinator in 4 years. That's not a good thing typically. So Mike made it pretty clear today with us that continuity will matter. I would think they try to keep as many people together on the staff and elevate from within as much as they possibly can, unless they're overwhelmed. And you know what? Unlike a lot of other teams that just do what the book says to do, Seattle doesn't do that. It's why they moved on from Russ, why they moved on from Gino, why they moved on from DK, why John Schneider was patient and hired Mike McDonald when everybody interviewed him and loved him, but we're like, well, we need to hire an offensive guy because that's what you do. They're not always by the book. So if they get overwhelmed, and they will do their homework, by somebody outside, they could make that move. But I think they would love to have the continuity of someone in-house.
Well, we appreciate your time as always. Hopefully Kyle's got you a good spot reserved so you can be outside and call a parade because you guys earned it for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's 10 a.m. I mean, Bump and Stacy, we get Boyle, we get McDonald, and we're on Radio Row, with Daniel Jeremiah every week. So we're going to be good teammates, and we're going to let Bump and Stacy do the whole 4-hour parade at 10 to 2. How about that?
That's awfully kind of you. That's very kind of you.
At some point, Scott, I need a nap. Like, this has been unbelievable run, but first world problems, I kind of need a nap.
Hey, by the way, I'm going to hit you up a little later. I got a couple things to run past you, but we appreciate you as always. Thanks for joining us. Always
fun, brother. Be well.
You got it. Brock Huard, one of our favorites right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone, anchoring a monster of a show there in Seattle. Brock and Sock do a tremendous job, and big fans of what they've built there. And, we've always talked about when we look at Bonneville, in which we're a part of, they've got all these rankings. And it's like Lloyd, I don't know, it's kind of like a used car lot where you walk in and you see the whiteboard and you see, all right, this sales guy is selling this much, this guy's doing this much. And so they like to pit the stations and the shows against each other. So we will always see Brock and Sock on like downloads and streams. They're like ridiculous numbers. Like I think they've got a cell farm in like Taiwan that has they're just streaming things nonstop there.
Yeah, I think you're right. They have to have some sort of cell farm.
I don't know how they're doing it, but they're pulling it off. And good for them. We respect them. And then you got Mark Schlereth and his show number 2 in the company, and then we're at number 3. Now we might be able to get Schlereth. That's who I'm aiming for. Like we're coming for Schlereth. Stink, we're going to get you. Sock and Brock, that might be a little too much. I think it's important that you understand who you are and where you are, and take those little victories. Schlereth, yeah, we're getting you.
Not always easy to beat trust fund babies.
No. And you know what? Good for him for admitting it, too,
I know.
because there's a lot of trust fund babies out there like, oh, I worked for everything. No, you didn't. Stop it. No, you didn't. Everything was handed to you. Knock it off. But he's like, yeah, you know what? We walk into here, and we've got the Mariners that were cooking last year. We've got the Seahawks who are winning Super Bowls. Yeah, life's pretty good. And, frankly, we didn't have time to talk about it, but after what Adam Silver said the other day, there's a good, or I believe what was it, yesterday, there's a good chance the NBA is coming back to Seattle here in the next couple of years. So whether it's a expansion team or whether somebody moves there, Seattle's getting an NBA team. In 2 to 3 years, Seattle will have an NBA team. Las Vegas will have an NBA team. It's just a matter of somebody moves there or if they just give them an expansion team. Either way, it's going to happen. So then they really hit the trifecta with the NFL and the Sonics coming back to town. It's good to live in Seattle right now, outside of living in Seattle where it rains, 300 days out of the year. Right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.